Hello everyone, this is my first video on this channel. I'm going to talk about how you can be introverted and still be an activist. And this goes towards anything, whether it's to do with environmental, if it's to do with health, if it's to do with LGBT rights, if it's to do with racial equality, if it's to do with feminism, whatever it is that you're passionate about. I do think that it's important to talk about. We've done so much just by little groups getting together and talking about things. So these are really simple, just simple ways that you can help whatever you're passionate about without trying too hard, I'm going to start with things like signing petitions. You don't even have to talk to anyone in order to do that. You can just sign a petition. You won't be known as this hero. You won't be known as this huge activist. You'll just get to sign it. You'll get your voice heard a bit, and the more petitions they get, the more change they can do. And another simple thing that I do is I wear t-shirts that have to do with whatever I'm passionate about. This one says shoot selfies, not animals. So this one is to do with hunting, because I am a vegan activist and I think that it's super important to do things like that. I also have a bag right here, and one sec, let me straighten it out. It says Hail Kale and Praise Seitan, which if you don't know what seitan is, it's a meat substitute. So it's just a little vegan bag, and it's not aggressive, it's fun, and it can spark conversation because people might be like, oh, what's seitan? And you can just have like conversation about it. You don't have to, get into this huge debate about it. You can just talk a little bit about it and people can just notice, oh, okay, she's kind of cool, whatever, and go on about their life, go on about their day. But that little thing can stick with them and whatever, and it's just like, you won't get labeled as this crazy activist. You'll just get labeled as, hey, this person was kind of cool, and that was kind of a funny bag, and maybe they'll try seitan. Like, maybe you can talk about how, I love seitan, a certain restaurant that you go to and get it, different things like that. And then you're also bringing attention to the fact that, hey, there's a lot of options and they're good. Just try them, On the bag too, I also have some buttons. One of them just fell off. This one is Challenge Transphobia. And basically, I put some buttons on there because I think that's another way of, really simple activism. I have Challenge Homophobia. I have Use Condom Sense. I have an anti-fur one, and I have Flesh is for Zombies. So they're just really fun little buttons and everything. You don't have to talk so much about it. People might ask you about it, and then you can just create some little conversation about it, and they're already interested in it if they're asking you about it. So it's not going to be this huge controversial talk about it. Like, you can just have a nice little chat with them. And also with that bag, I think that that's also another form of activism. Just if you're worried about the environment, you can just go and bring that into a bulk store or something like that, or not even a bulk store, just any store, instead of getting a plastic bag. And I go to bulk stores often, and I'll bring in mason jars or little reusable bags, like the ones that are used for making nut milk and stuff. I bring those in, and I get my food in there, and sometimes I get asked about it and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm just doing what I can to save the environment a bit, and it saves money too a lot of the times because packaging actually costs a lot more a lot of the time. I find that to be a super simple way that without trying so hard, you can just get people to think about, environmental aspects. And that little saying that you had on there, just a fun little thing. I also definitely think that things like self-love are super important, because you're not going to want to listen to someone if they aren't confident, if they don't love themselves and whatever. If they seem upset, depressed with the way that they're living, then you're not going to want to think about it. And it definitely helps to just, be a positive person, however you can, obviously. And, take care of yourself. Like, for instance, as a vegan and whatever, you might post things like, oh, this is what I ate today, and, it was healthy, and different progress that you've made to do with, if you exercise a lot, posting updates like, oh, this was before I went vegan, and this is me now, and different things like that. just to show people that there are many aspects of why you are the way you are. Or for the LGBT community, you can even talk about an icon that you like that just so happens to be LGBT. There's so many different things. You can share a little article about, whatever it is that you're passionate about, and then you're not using your own words and everything, and just make sure that you've checked the validity of it before you do that. And people might ask a little bit about it, and you can just have a little bit of a conversation about it. And I think that's another super simple way. I also often on Instagram, I'll post different foods and everything that I eat that, they are vegan, but they are things that even if you weren't vegan and stuff, you'd look at that and be like, wow, that looks pretty good. So it just goes to show that, I'm not so different than everyone else. It just builds rapport, because if you build rapport, you might have friends that I know I personally have friends who hunt or fish or whatever, and, I love them, and I talk with them and everything, and it's not this huge, crazy thing. It's just like, yeah, so we find where we have their common ground. Like, maybe they do it because they're like, oh, I don't like factory farms. So then it's just like, yeah, me neither. And you can talk about the common ground that you have, and you might be able to make them see your perspective a bit more and make little steps in the right direction. Or you can post different things like, I've posted like about my Lush bath bomb because it's vegan and it's fairly traded. That's another thing. And my bag actually was also non-sweatshop, which I love. So, sharing different things with brands or whatever, if you want to support them, I think that can be super important too. Like, obviously, that is a form of advertising for them, and you might not get any money for it, but it's like, I want to support this brand because this brand is doing a really great thing for the world, and it's like affordable, whatever. Just check it out if you want to. I also think that YouTubers like Jenna Marbles are super important because she isn't a vegan activist per se, in the sense that, she doesn't talk all about it, but she makes little recipes and stuff and they look good. They aren't something that is like, ew, veganism is like, the food's so bland. It's like, no, that looks delicious. Maybe I'll try that. So different things like that. You look at her, you don't think of her as, oh, this crazy activist. You just think, hey, she's cool, she's funny. She's not only a vegan, she's so much more than that. And that's something that's important too, is like, don't make you being an activist your whole identity. Show the other aspects so you can build rapport. And, you might be someone who cares about the environment, but you also do artwork and stuff, so then you decide to upcycle, different things like that. There are different ways that you can combine your passions together, and I think that that's super beautiful and super important. Another thing, like I said, this isn't only to do with veganism. I have a friend who posts about his makeup and everything because he's super into it and he's super good at it. It's a talent and everything that helps with the LGBT community, and I think it's super wonderful. I will link his Instagram down below. He did my prom makeup. He's wonderful. Different things like that. You can show your passion, and you can show how your passion correlates to your other passions, whether it's supporting activism, the LGBT community, or whatever it may be. Another thing I do is, as a vegan and everything, people think like, oh, there's nowhere that you can eat, and it's like, no, I'll go and eat at places that don't have a lot of vegan options, but I will work through my corners and everything, and I'll find something that I can make a meal out of. And, people will realize, wow, I can go to the same place I've always been and eat vegan there. Or you could, refuse the straw, whether, you just don't want to drink with the straw, or if you bring your own metal straw, wood straw, bamboo. You can go to places like Starbucks and bring your own reusable cup. You can bring reusable containers for takeout or for fast food, and often, like, the workers and everything will give you a discount for that too, which is amazing. Like, bless your soul. But just doing that, people will see that and they'll be like, oh, maybe I should try that. That seems easy enough. So different things, encourage people to do something that's easy and just kind of live authentically. And just, if you're living a good life and you're doing what you're passionate about, and, whether it's veganism, whether it's feminism, whatever it is, if you can show that, hey, this isn't such a crazy thing and I just do these little things, people are more likely to be like, hey, yeah, maybe I can do that too. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful. This is my first video, so I apologize that it's probably not the greatest, but yeah, I hope to make some more videos and I hope I can help you. Just let me know in the comments below what you think and maybe what you think I should make a video on in the future. Thanks.